Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a very different approach. We're zooming in on a single afternoon, November 21st, 2025, on one specific road, National Highway 66.
That's right. And this isn't about, big picture traffic patterns. Our source is a witness account called The Calculus of Chaos, and it documents four specific, terrifying incidents.
And the reason we're doing this deep dive is because these aren't just mistakes. The source calls them acts of profound recklessness.
Right. Where the margin of safety, that buffer we all rely on, just completely vanishes.
So our mission today is to analyze these close calls measured in inches and seconds and see what kind of dangerous pattern emerges.
It really reveals how, for some people, the road becomes a venue for these high-stakes gambles. It's the real cost of impatience, and you get to see it quantified.
Okay, let's just jump right in. Incident 1. It's 3:11 in the afternoon, and the trigger for this whole chain reaction is, well, it's just needing to get petrol.
Which is what makes it so absurd. We're on a straight stretch of highway. There's no reason to do anything rash.
None at all. So picture this. You've got an auto rickshaw moving at about, say, 40 kilometers an hour, and a car is following it. The petrol pump is across the highway.
And out of nowhere.
A motorcycle with a young, helmetless passenger on the back makes what the witness calls a dashing jump.
A dashing jump. Wow.
Yeah. Shoots right across oncoming traffic, directly in front of that auto rickshaw.
And that's where the first domino falls. That one single selfish act immediately puts two other drivers in mortal danger.
So the auto driver
Has to just slam on the brakes. I mean, a full-on emergency stop. He misses the bike by inches. Inches.
And we all know what happens when an auto rickshaw brakes that hard.
Exactly. It tilts dangerously to the right. It's on the verge of just completely tipping over into the lane.
But the chaos doesn't stop there. What about the car that was following the auto?
Well, that driver sees the auto suddenly brake and start to topple. So they have no choice but to swerve and swerve hard into the next lane.
The source uses this very technical term for it.
It does, a half parabolic curve.
What does that even mean in this context? It sounds like something from a physics textbook.
It tells you it wasn't a gentle merge. I mean, this was a high-speed, controlled panic maneuver. The driver was pulling G's to avoid plowing into the back of a toppling auto.
So one person's impatience
Forces two other people into life-or-death emergency procedures. A major stack-up was avoided by what? A few feet and some incredible defensive driving.
That transfer of risk is just a perfect lead-in to our next incident. We jump forward a bit to 5:02 p.m., and this one adds another layer to the chaos.
It does. Now we're talking a reckless speed combined with difficult terrain.
Right. So this part of NH66, it has a medium steep slope and a curve.
Conditions where you should be slowing down, being more cautious.
You'd think. So car B signals, does everything right, starts a slow, gradual turn to exit the right lane.
A totally normal, predictable maneuver.
But car C, coming up behind them at nearly 60 kilometers an hour, just refuses to slow down.
It's that same mentality. Pure impatience. That signaling car isn't another person, it's just an obstacle in their way.
So instead of braking for 2 seconds, car C floors it and pulls this incredibly aggressive overtake on a slope, in a curve.
And this is where the calculus of chaos really gets its name. The witness provides these measurements that are just staggering.
Tell us, what was the clearance?
Car C squeezes past the turning car B with a 1-inch gap.
1 inch?
1 inch.
Let's just let that sink in. 1 inch between two moving vehicles on a slope.
The margin for error is gone. It's not thin, it's non-existent. A slight bump, a tiny misjudgment, and it's a huge collision. He risked all of that to save maybe 3 seconds.
And he wasn't done creating chaos, was he?
Not at all. After that 1-inch squeeze, he swings into the side lane in another one of these sweeping, high-speed moves. The source calls it a parabolic path trajectory.
And there's already a car in that lane, car A.
Yep. Car A is just driving along, minding its own business, and car C misses it by only 3 feet.
3 feet is uncomfortably close, but after hearing 1 inch.
Right. 1 inch is mathematically insane. The driver of car C basically gambled with 3 lives over a space smaller than your thumb. You have to ask, is that skill or just a total normalized disconnect from reality?
That's the perfect phrase for it, a normalized disconnect. Which brings us to the last 2 incidents. They happen in a really tight time frame, just 22 minutes apart.
And the focus here shifts entirely to motorcycles. The witness groups them under this very ominous heading, knocking on heaven's door.
It's chilling, it really is. Okay, incident 3, 5:37 p.m. The bridge daredevil.
The setting is so important. A car is moving cautiously, approaching a narrow bridge, a natural bottleneck.
A place you'd expect everyone to be on their best behavior.
But this KTM motorcycle, also with a pillion rider, decides this is the perfect place for a highly illegal overtake.
And not on the right side.
No, on the left side, squeezing between the car and the bridge railing.
And I'm almost afraid to ask for clearance.
You guessed it, 1 inch. 1 inch between the bike's handlebar and the car's left bumper.
So we have excessive speed, illegal overtaking, lane weaving, all culminating in another 1-inch gamble.
And think about the psychology of that. When you do that on a bike, you are placing 100% of your trust in the car driver. You're betting your life that they won't move a single millimeter to the left.
It's an insane kind of trust, a parasitic trust almost.
It really is.
And then, unbelievably, just 22 minutes later, at 5.59, it happens again. But this time, it's not even on the main highway.
Right. Service road squeeze. We're on a slightly packed service road, lower speeds, tighter spaces, and more people.
Pedestrians.
Exactly. More vulnerable road users. So a motorcycle, rider A, decides to overtake a car by creating a new lane.
A new lane.
And the tiny gap between the moving car and the curb, a space that isn't meant for traffic at all.
And he's not alone, is he?
No. There's another bike,
Yeah.
rider B, right behind him. So rider A goes for it. He squeezes through.
Let me guess. 1 inch of clearance.
1 inch on the car's left bumper. And then rider B follows him, missing rider A's handlebar by 1 inch. It's a chain reaction of recklessness.
But you mentioned pedestrians. This is what makes this one so much worse.
It's the detail that turns your stomach. This whole chaotic squeeze happened right next to a parked car where people were standing outside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the potential collision wasn't just 3 vehicles. It was 3 vehicles and multiple pedestrians who were completely defenseless.
So it's only because the car driver held their line perfectly that this didn't become a multi-casualty incident.
Again, the entire burden of safety falls on the one person who was actually following the rules.
So if we pull back and look at these 4 incidents from this one afternoon, the threads are just so clear.
They really are. You've got the constant of helmetless riding, which shows a baseline disregard for safety. You have chronic inappropriate speed. And then you have this signature move.
The 1 inch overtake.
The 1 inch overtake. It's not an accident. It's a technique.
Yeah.
It has been practiced. It's been normalized.
And that leads right to the source's conclusion that the margin of safety on that road, for that afternoon at least, was effectively gone.
It was. Safety was entirely dependent on the skill and vigilance of defensive drivers. The responsible people are forced to compensate for the irresponsible.
Which brings us to the call for accountability in the source. It's not just a list of complaints, there's a demand for action.
And the argument is that this behavior won't stop with just warnings. I mean, it only stops when there is consistent, visible enforcement.
The consequences have to outweigh the tiny perceived benefit of saving a few seconds.
Exactly. Because without that, these constant near misses are just rehearsals. They're dress rehearsals for a tragedy. The normalization of that 1 inch clearance is the real poison in the system.
The calculus of chaos is just an incredible piece of documentation. It shows that road chaos isn't really random at all. It can be measured. It can be predicted.
It really can.
Thank you so much for helping us break this all down. The specificity of it all makes the danger feel incredibly real.
And maybe here's a final thought for you, for everyone to take away from this. If one witness could document 4 of these extreme 1 inch clearance events in a single afternoon, what does that say about the true frequency of this behavior? And, how many times do you have to get away with it before it feels completely normal, even though it only has to fail once to be catastrophic?
A very sobering thought. We'll see you next time on Deep Dive.